welcome to the Paddle and Portage podcast.
Thank you.
Really awesome to have you here. For folks that don't know who you are, would you mind introducing yourself and kind of how you would like people to know you?
All right. Well, I'm Constance Simes. I am a sea kayaker up in the Apostle Islands in Bayfield, Wisconsin. I grew up in Iowa, so kind of had an interesting start to the outdoors and kayaking. And yeah, I have done a couple expeditions, one big one that we'll be talking about. And had some ACA certs recently that upgraded and all of that.
So you give us the headliner for your big trip, but we're going to go back a little ways. But let's give them a little teaser.
So it's solo circumnavigating Lake Superior by sea kayak. So that's what happened in 2022.
Over how many days?
57.
57 days, basically alone.
Yes. I had a few friends join for day paddles and some land support for my husband and friends, but all of the North Shore of Canada, I didn't know anyone there or see anyone that I knew.
I'm so excited to dive into that. Connie, I am curious though, as a person from Iowa, where did it all start for you?
So I think the origin story is just the little college town I was at in Enola, Iowa. They had on the town square, there's a little outfitter that also rents out kayaks at the local lake in Lake Aquabi. And I just started renting there. It was after college. Lost my 40-hour job that I was promised out of college, so I was a little unsure of what to do with my time then, and kind of released the stress and got away by kayaking and just started renting almost 5 days, if not 7 days out of the week, till they started to get to know me and give me tips.
Amazing. So really a little bit of an unexpected twist to your adult journey.
Yeah, definitely.
Brought you to the water.
Yeah, other than that, before that, maybe in a canoe once, and I was the problem for capsizing.
Did you do a dump? You took a dump?
Yeah.
Right away?
Yeah, right away in that canoe. I was the middle person. I blame it that I didn't have a paddle and why I capsized.
That's a very valid complaint. So this was like many folks who were, say, taken up into the North Woods by a family member or parent, that wasn't your start?
Not my start, but my start for my love for Lake Superior was just a friend that lived above the coffee shop that I worked at, and he grew up on the Bayfield Peninsula and was like, hey, I'm having some family and friends do this paddle to Sand Island, come join. And that's the first time I ever went up there. And then I started going, a couple times a year, and then almost every month I'd be making the 16-hour round trip from Iowa just to go up there for a weekend away.
How many times were you doing that?
It took me 3 years to finally decide to move up there. So
you were driving up how many times, like a paddling season?
A paddling season, it's kind of funny. I only went a few times in the summer. More was winter. I would spend my New Year's Eves in a cabin alone on the North Shore.
Just getting away.
Just getting away.
Oh.
But being by the lake was the important part.
Yes. This is really, not anybody can do what you've done. And there's some special skills that I'm already hearing about. You love the water. That's intrinsic to who you are. But you also sounds like you love solitude.
Yes, I really do. And as much as not a lot of people can do this, that's one thing I do think is if you practice and with the proper preparation and also intuition, I think anyone can do this with those proper, prerequisites to do it. You could paddle any day, but also you might take 70 days instead of 57 because you listen to your gut saying, oh, these conditions are above my skill. I probably shouldn't go, and just having a land day. Just being honest with that and knowing where you're at and what you can handle.
You don't go from paddling a flatwater lake in Iowa to Lake Superior without, I would imagine, some intense experiences of learning that intuition, of learning to trust your gut in the way that you just described. Is there a poignant moment or story for you that helped you learn to trust yourself in those moments? Or did most of that get flushed out in the long trip?
I think it wasn't one point, but it was probably just over the accrual of times I guided up there in the Apostle Islands. So I worked at a couple different guiding companies where we'd be doing 2 days, 2 trips a day out to the sea caves, or 5-day island trips. And just over time, just learning the nuances and learning to really understand what we call the guidey sense up there. You're just like, something doesn't feel right. I can't quite put my finger on it, but maybe that color of the water out there, or that cloud, I don't like it. I'm going to sit down for a little bit and wait it out. And usually you kind of learn that that was the right thing to do. So with those companies, I was doing American Canoe Association certifications of level 3 coastal kayak skills, and then I've recently gone all the way up to a level 4 coastal kayak instructor now. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a feat, but finally just something I decided to pursue and actually commit to doing.
What are some of those core skills that distinguish a level 4 kayaking instructor? So
at least for like level 4 skills alone are re-entry and roll in 4 to 6 foot waves. So you have to fully wet exit, capsize, be out of your boat, and then get back up and roll up in those conditions, as well as assisted rescues in that too. And then just being instructors, being able to do those skills or have those skills, but also be able to save people in that, because now you're teaching people it. And so you have to be a little bit above and a little more understanding, a little more teaching or coaching as well.
It's not just being able to do it. You have to be able to teach other people to do it or assist them in doing it themselves.
Exactly. Because also, like doing that, you learn more yourself too by teaching. I feel like that's a key thing of learning.
Absolutely. I so many personal reasons why I want to dive into that. But I know not everybody is interested in the nuance of ACA level paddle instruction. But I think that's really cool. So you were building through, you decided to make a career out of guiding on Lake Superior. And how long were you doing that before you felt ready to do your circumnavigation?
So I think it's always kind of hard to remember. It all blends together a little bit.
Yeah, approximately.
But I started in 2016 guiding up there, and then I did take a few years off before I did my trip, just to focus on some personal paddling. Also, I had some health things flare up, so I have a chronic illness that's invisible, and so I had some really bad flare-ups and just had to kind of figure that out. And then what really sparked the trip was actually okay, well, if I'm already, in my early 30s and I'm having this much health things, paddling is my passion. How can I get back into that? And what do I need to do before I might not be able to, possibly, later on in life, or be able to keep doing it, or how to manage it. And so that kind of sparked that point where I'm like, I need to do this now.
Absolutely. I would like to come back to that if that's okay, because that seems like a big deal.
Yeah.
But you decided to do it after the flare-up. Let's get into that story of your trip, and I would really love for you to talk about how that part of it wove into it as well.
All right.
So where do you want to start?
The standard, started the day after solstice, June 22nd, 2022. And then it went all the way to August 17th. So it was 57 days, only 49 days paddling. So I had 8 off days, whether my body just didn't feel right, or a few weather days. And I started at Little Sand Bay on the Bayfield Peninsula. That's pretty much my backyard. And I wanted to go counterclockwise. So go over the UP, through Sault Ste. Up the North Shore, over from Wawa to Marathon to Thunder Bay, down the Minnesota North Shore, and then back around through Duluth.
So a counterclockwise circumnavigation, which in no way actually is a circle.
No, not at all. But, you know, you kind of, and it's not like a perfect outline of the lake. I cut across some bays, or I took the Keweenaw waterway, just because I like, okay, it's an island technically, and so I'll just come back and do that expedition another time and focus on my main goal is just getting around the lake.
Because that would have added a significant.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it could be 5 days, but I've had people like have to abort their trips because it's such a far peninsula into the lake that you get hit with all conditions, and you can be stuck out there for a week.
And that exposure is really intense.
Yeah.
So for people who maybe don't know, let's just give us a real brief explanation of what you're launching into the lake with.
Craft-wise?
Crafts, and maybe just like real super simple of the gear, crafting gear, because you're solo.
Mm-hmm. Yep, solo. Again, I just had some friends day paddles, so I had Nigel Dennis Kayak or Sea Kayak UK, Explorer LV, which is low volume kayak, and then I had 2 Greenland paddles that I swapped out and 2 Euro blades that I swapped out. I just wanted to do that to make sure my body didn't get fatigued in one muscle group, or also be able to switch it up. And then I had, you know, on top was just a chart book, and then my deck bag with my bilge pump, paddle float, other safety equipment, paddle jacket, water bottle, and that's besides a spare, you know, one of the 2. That's all I had on deck. So everything actually I fit in my kayak, because it's just such a great expedition kayak. So I didn't really look like I was doing a big tour to everyone. They were just like, oh, she's just out for a day paddle. She only has 1 bag on top. So it's kind of like that stealth.
Yeah, you like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a covert operation.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, you know, I know that you've presented on this. Mm-hmm. So I want to sort of pass you the baton a little bit and tell us about the trip.
So it was, you know, something that, you know, I don't think I ever really truly know I was ready for, but it was absolutely amazing. I don't know whether I just was running away from storms or just following them, but I had such great weather and conditions. You know, I did have some weather days, you know, 11-foot waves, 36-mile-an-hour gusts. Did not want to paddle in that. That's not how I want to cover ground. I can go play in that, but that's not what I wanted to do on that expedition. And so I had really good conditions. I, you know, really enjoyed the shoreline, stealth camped as much as I could on, you know, I tried to go on public lands, but sometimes the lake was like, nope, you're staying here. So listening to that gut feeling of like, should I stay or should I go? The South Shore is just absolutely amazing. Something I'm really used to, which is the sandy beaches, the shallow approaches, you know, slab of sandstones.
Yeah, it's kind of like a ease of access on the South Shore.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why I did like the counterclockwise, because like I'm familiar, or if anything does happen in that first like couple weeks, because I think it took 18 days to get to Canada. And Sault Ste. That I was like, I can shake it down, or I'm close enough to home that if anything, I forgot something or I needed my paddle technically shipped to me there, that was easy and accessible and something I knew before just jumping in deep and going to somewhere I don't know.
Warming your body and your mind and your routine up to a whole component of the trip that didn't have to embrace some of those challenges that I know were to come, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You could build into it.
Yeah, exactly.
The landscape challenges.
Yeah, like, yeah, if I can take off one thing off the table, it's like, let's keep familiar, and then let's, you know, add up the days so I'm stronger and a little bit more in tune with the lake and myself, and then go into the challenging but also amazing, you know, unknown and Canadian North Shore.
Because that was your first visit there. It's seen all of that in one push. Yes,
all in one push. I kind of, you know, gone around before, but yeah, that was my first like thorough in Canada exposure.
I'm sure you have your stories you want to tell,
Mm-hmm.
and I welcome you to tell them, but what was it like shifting the landscape like that?
It did happen really abruptly.
Right.
Like, I crossed in Whitefish Bay from a sandy beach and landed on like cobbles of like softball-sized rocks. And like, cool, my keel strip is definitely going to do the work now. And just watching my ankles and unloading and loading and storing my kayak at night, just, you know, was like, okay, I got strong by moving it a little bit, but now we're really going to lift it and be careful.
No dragging.
No dragging. I did drag a little bit. It was heavy, and people were like, "Oh, I know it's heavy," and then they lifted it, and they're like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, it's heavy. It was a couple. Yeah, it was pushing there, a couple 100 pounds, I bet."
It was a couple of you.
Yeah, with a couple of me at least. Yeah. So, and definitely right when I entered Canada, I was stocked for about 3 weeks is roughly what I would estimate, like before I got resupplied, either by my husband visiting me, or I did get resupplied in Marathon, which is the most northeast part of the lake. Northeast. Other than that, I just was pretty stocked with like dehydrated meals, lots of fig bars that had lots of protein, snacks, all that good stuff. But it was kind of daunting, and that's where, you know, I could see a lot of people getting lonely because it's also like unfamiliar shoreline, and I know no one here. I kind of connected with a few outfitters before, like, hey, can I, you know, resupply here or stay with you for a night? But I never knew them personally until then. And so that was shocking, but I really relished it. I did have anxiety about like where to camp sometimes, definitely if I couldn't go on the lake, and I was like, well, I don't know if this is private or public. I kind of know where I'm at, but just was always trying to do my best to leave no trace or pick up trash and respect the land and make it better than what I found it, hopefully. But yeah, it was amazing shoreline, and I felt like some people said I rushed it, but I think I was just like in the motion by the time I hit Canada. That was really cruising and felt good, understood my kit and understood my, you know, systems of packing and unpacking and all of that really well by then.
Connie, on a sensory level, what was the flow like for you on the water and moving through those routines, being alone? And I think I'm curious about both what on a sensory level it was like, and then also what on like an embodied emotional level, what was happening for you. I'm curious about both those things.
Yeah. So it's a really good question. Like I can feel like I'm like getting into that spot right now. It just was really tranquil. You know, paddling is repetitive, and bilateral stimulation, left, right, is amazing for mental health.
Right. EMDR is based on.
Yeah. Might have done some of that.
Yeah, lots and lots.
Yeah. So besides, just knowing that as a therapy way and then applying that to paddling was amazing. And so just getting into the honing of that, and then just really focusing on the environment and like counting how many fish I saw that day, or I had a big tally of how many eagles I saw every day. And so just really getting my senses attuned and like being able to spot them far away, or like, oh, is that the same one that was back there? And like really focusing and sharpening those kind of senses. But overall, I was just, you know, listening a lot more and hearing, okay, I hear some waves starting to build. The chop sounds a little bit different. Like, is there a squall coming through? Or, the rustle of the leaves. There was one point where the best way to describe it is literally deafening silence. And it was like, I forget exactly what island. It was like Otter Island in Pukasau. And it was just like half fogged down, so you could see the shoreline, but like you couldn't see the sky or anything. And I had to stop. And like I started crying, and I was like, why am I crying? Because this is just something that you don't feel ever. And then also that was about halfway through, so it's like I'm already alone and in this interesting headspace, and then just get overwhelmed by nothing and just beautiful scenery. It was really awesome. Yeah.
Wow. I'm feeling a little bit of that from your description. Thank you for that. I mean, it sounds like you're describing a level of attunement with the water, especially, where you could sense, I'm sure, through your boat and through the sounds, what was happening with the lake, and paying attention through observation of what's happening with the eagles and the fish. And I think that story of crying is really beautiful, because you didn't know, and you don't have to know. That's just what emerged.
Yeah, that just
from the nothing.
Yeah, it hit really hard. It was like, whoa, where did this come from? But it's like also like, look around. That's where it came from.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What was happening with your thoughts? Did it get quiet too?
It got really quiet, or kind of more basic, I guess. It's just like really in tune with my body, just like with my chronic illness and stuff too. I need to be in tune, but also there I was like, okay, I need more electrolytes. I don't have any symptoms. I just know I need more. Like, you're just really in tune with that. But yeah, I don't know. Just really in tune with everything and really sensory with it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but my thoughts run pretty hard all the time. And those experiences that quiet that are powerful. And you had days and days and days.
Yeah.
And you can attune when the thoughts are quiet.
Yes, exactly. And I slept so good. I also felt the best I've ever felt paddling, even though it's exhaustive, over 30 miles a day sometimes, that I slept so well. I think it just either is the fresh air or something that just everything was in sync, and it felt great.
That's awesome. I want to just open it up for you to share any elements of the trip stories or powerful moments for you that, you want to. I want to make sure that people have a chance to hear any of those.
Yeah, so, that was one big thing. I've done an expedition with a friend the year before to kind of shake down after I had that big flare-up on the Mississippi River, and that was amazing. But I wasn't sure how people are like, you're going to get lonely, you're all by yourself, not just safety worries, but also everything else of like, how are you going to make sure you're not going to be so sad or emotional out there, or like, homesick. And I actually never got that. Like, of course I missed my husband and my dog and my comfort of my home, but like overall I was having an amazing time, and I just really embraced it all. And there's one time about again, Marathon, which is the northern part in Canada. I was waiting for a resupply package. For some reason the mail system was really delayed. And so I had 3 days on this little peninsula by myself. And it was foggy for 2 days until the day I left, of course. And so nothing around, just really in my own little zone. And I was close to town, so I was able to stream some alone, the show.
Oh, God. And
they have some bushcraft. And they always make these cool tripod chairs. And I was like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to entertain myself on my days off where I'm like, I can't paddle because I don't have enough food to go to the next town or anything. So I'm going to stay here and just have fun and try these random bushcraft things. And I made this little chair. It was terrible. I have a really good footage in my presentation of it. It's humbling, but it's also fun that I'm sitting on it and it's like moving a little bit, and it finally settles. I'm like, not great. And as soon as I say that, it collapses. And I'm just like slap happy. Like, I don't recognize the laugh I made because it was just so innate. And so, yeah, it's just a really great, like, that's where I was. I was happy. I was in it. And that was just like, you have to just embrace it. And I feel like once you do, you're just going to have the time of your life.
Yeah. You were having the time of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. I think, so you obviously made it. Mm-hmm. You were successful. The northern section sounds like we're really profound in a lot of ways. What, if anything, did you take away, or how did it leave you?
So that's like, I didn't have some revolutionary thing. Like, people are like, oh, I was so soul searching, or I left my husband after I came back. Like, I didn't have any revolutionary, like, overwhelming. But overall, I understood that I could trust myself a lot more, that I do have the skills. Sometimes I don't think I did this trip, but I did, obviously. But it just has that weird feeling. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Because, like, when you end an expedition like that, you're just like, wait, I'm not paddling tomorrow? I don't have to go anywhere. It's kind of like stops abruptly, and you're like, weird.
It can be very, it can mess with you.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It really did. And I didn't know that part until I started like, okay, I need to listen to podcasts about some people have done this, because like I can't be alone of like, I can't sleep in my house because even though it's like a dry cabin, I was sleeping in my tent because I just didn't like the feeling or couldn't sleep. I felt restless. And so adapting to actual normal life was interesting. But I know like it showed me how important paddling is to me, or could be to anyone, or just experiencing the outdoors. Is that, again, I did taxing things, but my body never felt better. And for me to have that and not like...
With your chronic illness.
With my chronic illness, yeah. Like I had wrist tendonitis at the beginning, but other than that, I was so good. I felt good energy-wise. I wasn't fatigued through the day, and just felt strong and stable. And it was just, that's something that's really unique to my condition, is that I'm actually hypermobile, so I can actually dislocate and stuff like that. And that's not great. But I felt strong and confident, and that's really something I came away with, is like, I need to keep doing this no matter if I do feel terrible and I can't get out and do another 57-day adventure. I need to do it on any level that I can, just because it will make me feel better.
And it always does.
It does, yeah.
I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
I would love to be able to put some of your pictures into this.
Of course.
And if people want to look you up, whether that's to hear more of your story, to follow along with what you're doing now, to check out your ACA, what do you call them, classes? Or
certifications or courses too, yeah.
Yeah, your courses, your instruction. How would you like them to find you?
So my email probably is best. It gets a little cluttered, but I usually try to respond in a timely fashion. So Bell, B as in boy, ELL, .Connie with a Y @gmail.com.
That's CONNY.
Yeah.
And how about the socials?
Socials, I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Maybe shoot me a message before so I kind of know what you're looking for, or who you are.
Maybe even if they just want to follow along in your adventures.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Do you have a handle you want to share?
Yeah. So it's authentic_imperfection is on Instagram.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And when you do your next thing, I want to hear about it.
I gotta still plan it, so
Cool.
It's in the works.